Okay, team, by the looks of things, we're back by Phil. So it was right from the start. The choice, if you wish to go back so that the live stream can take it, the choice is yours, obviously. That was beyond us to be able to do anything.
Give me the short version. Right, take two. You're right. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak here today. And I really have just got some questions about the Bruce Community Facility. First one is, of course, how much is the Bruce Community Facility? How much it's going to cost us, the ratepayers of the Clifford District? As you know, Calder Stewart was appointed to it, supply an updated design and price some months ago. And one of the last committee meetings that I actually read or seen the report, there was going to be a report tabled to give us that information. I haven't seen that yet, nor have I seen an agenda item in the next week while with that information on it. It would appear, however, the cost has escalated from the one voted on at $19.4 million and some unaccounted or unforeseen costs, including a massive transformer needed to supply power and the property purchase and renovations to facilitate TOCO training. Now, speculation is, of course, that these two things alone will be $1.5 million by themselves added to the bill. So I really just want to break down the total cost of breakdown of what that's going to cost. And we also don't want to get a surprise car park bill like we've just had for the hub. Is the car
Sorry, point of order there. The car park at the hub was always budgeted. There was negotiations with ORC for along the flood bank. There was negotiations with Countdown to say that it was certainly wasn't a surprise to us if you hadn't read about it, but we knew it.
Yeah, okay, well, we got a surprise. So I'll leave it. Anyway, is the car park in the pool budget? So that there's, basically all everyone is asking is a complete breakdown of costs, both directly and indirectly, for the pool to the ratepayers of the Clifford District, without any sort of add-ons later on that didn't come to light whilst it was being built. And that's all I need. The concern is it will go over 19.4 million, and what was voted on at the submission thing was a pool for 19.4 million. That's it. Thank you very much for the second opportunity.
Okay, questions, councillors? No questions? If not, thank you very much, Mr. Barrett. Appreciate it. Sorry, no, we've got Councillor McAtamaney.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't, thank you, Worship. I wasn't going to ask a question. I was just going to state that, no, we haven't seen those numbers yet. We're still waiting on that report. Was supposed to be mid-August. Yeah, so haven't received it yet. So can't give you an answer.
Thank you.
Councillor Martin.
And on that note, like it can't go over what we consulted on and agreed upon anyway, can it?
Oh, look, the
without going back
accusations of total.
Without going back to the public for further consultation.
Correct. Where there's an open and
so that's
transparent
19.4.
Further questions, then? Councillor Catholic.
Well, is there an update from our staff that we can take away?
It's point of order because we don't have to answer questions in a public forum.
Out of self-interest, is there an update on our August delivery of the report?
No, we haven't seen it ourselves.
There's no update.
A simple thing to say, which I think we advised. We advised to council previously, was that we're waiting for the 90% figures from the contractors to be able to get the final figures to be able to determine whether it's 19.4 or less or more, and the consequences as a result. So, no, you haven't made any decisions around that. You haven't seen anything as a result, and we're just waiting on that.
So, as always, we're waiting in an open and transparent process. When we know, I'm sure the public will know. Thank you for that. Hold on, just check again. No more questions? No, if not, thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Cheers.
Right, now, item number 1 is includes budget advice, and we've got Sarita and Tanya from Budget Advice. Thought I was going to shut them up. Come on up, team, sorry. So you'll see agenda item number 1, everyone. Group here is speaking to their item, and then after that, if there's questions, but I'd also love if you could stay while we work through the agenda item. Sure, welcome.
And just before, Your Worship, before we drop them in it completely, staff, we wrote the report based on the request with the budget advice and from discussions with them. And you can see their advice, their request at the bottom within the container of the report. So they're not necessarily speaking to the report, although I think we've given them a copy of it with luck. And there's been some discussion. So with that little intro, that's okay.
Yep, it does. And before you start, once again, can I acknowledge, I know budget advice is under enormous pressure at the moment. What's happening out there? You do a magnificent job, and I want to thank you. You know, it's not an easy time, and as with all pressure cookers, yeah, the pressure goes on, and I want to acknowledge the work you do, and thank goodness you're there. Kia ora.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Your Worship and councillors. On behalf of the Clutha Budget Advisory Service and Food Hub, Tanya and I are here today with the proposal in front of you. We've been extremely grateful for the support of the council over the last 2 years of the $25,000 annual grants you have provided us. We've been working on a long-term sustainability of our organisation, which has led to the proposal looking to relocate the council-owned premises at 4 to 6 Elizabeth Street and asking for the reduction in rental to replace our annual grant. We're happy to answer any questions on the proposal as presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, team? Oh, and sorry, before we go to questions, we'll go to Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. So just we should take the report as read. It's reasonably self-explanatory in terms of what's being proposed. I just want to make sure people are clear, or councillors are clear. We haven't paid the $25,000 for this financial year, so we're talking about that as a potential offset to what's being suggested. So we've held that; it hasn't yet been paid, and it's up for discussion as a result, and it's an opportunity as a result. The other thing I'd make point 9, obviously 4 to 6 Elizabeth Street is vacant. It is up for sale, but it's also up for lease. This proposal would secure a long-term tenant at market rates, so we would get the market return, and this is why I need to make sure you're on and understand this. The intent is that we would still receive the full market rental. What the offset, we want to be clear about what the offset is. The offset is against the grants that have been provided to, the annual grant that's been provided to Clutha Budget Advisory for the Food Hub. The 25,000 previously, the 25,000 you've approved this year. The offset is on the basis, is looking ahead to say, locking in effectively a subsidy or a grant to Clutha Budget Advisory of 10,000 as opposed to $25,000 potentially. Now, it is fair to say you've only approved the 25,000 this financial year, as you did the previous one, but it would also be correct to say that it would be highly likely that you'd be getting further requests for grant funding each year for that particular service, right? So the report does reflect that there are balances and checks and offsets to this, but you do get full market rental for a long-term tenant, so we don't lose anything there, and you are just sort of balancing the future grant requests, which are currently at a quantum of around 25,000 versus effectively a grant request of $10,000 per annum. So that's how we describe it, right? It's not, what you don't do is you don't say we're subsidising the rent by 10,000. The rent is the rent, but what we do have is an annual grant that's currently 25,000 that's being reduced to 10. So the impact on council would be the commitment that falls upon us for granting would reduce from 25 down to 10. There would be that side of the coin, the equation. On the other side of the equation is we are also securing a long-term tenant at market rates for 4 to 6 Elizabeth Street. Happy to answer any questions around that side of things.
Councillor Graham, followed by Martin Herbert Payne.
Through you, Mr Chair, so we've clarified by the CEO. Thank you.
Councillor Martin.
Through you, Mr Chair, a question for Steve. I don't see, or unless I can't see it, what is the market rental value for the building? Is it 15,000 if you're going to offset 25k and give them 10k and the building is the market rental 15k?
No, it's, we're advertising, you'll see it on page 7, council, the property's advertised at 255 currently for sale or 20,000 per annum market rental.
Right, so it's 20k is the market value.
Yes.
Plus.
So we're going to offset it for 15k, offer it to these ladies for 15.
No.
No, councillor, 10. And we're not saying, again, because we just want to be clear, you're not offering it to 10 grand. They would pay 20,000 per annum rental, a full 20,000 per annum rental. But they're not asking for $25,000 grant per annum. They're asking only for $10,000 grant per annum. So that's how you correctly reflect it.
Councillor Herbert, followed by Payne, Wheeler, Catherine.
Thank you. So what is the term of the tenancy / lease, the length of term?
As well, as long as we would normally, it's just a commercial arrangement, councillor. We haven't yet actually discussed the length of the tenancy.
Well, it does, I mean, it just makes, because you're talking about $10,000 a year for the length of the tenancy. So how, that's my question. So are we committing 50,000 or are we committing 100,000? I don't know how much I'm committing. Generally, a tenancy is 3+3 or 2+2 or whatever it's going to be. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and so through you, Worship, yes, to be fair, we haven't reflected the lease term. I'm sure a lease term like 3+3 is normal commercial terms. I'd be assuming, you can ask them, is that reasonable as well? So yes, if that was a 3+3 councillor, then you are committing 6 years worth of 10 grand. We don't know what the grant request would have been annually, except we do know from the financials that rental currently is a substantial chunk of the dollars. They're certainly paying, as I understand it, more than what they'd be paying even market rental for our property currently. And so, yeah, it's definitely to their advantage to not have to do that.
Councillor Payne, Wheeler, Catherine.
Thank you, Worship. Simple question, but I'm confused. Is the food hub going with the budget advisory to this premise?
We currently, we are the Clutha Budget Advisory Service and Food Hub. So we are one entity. It just happens to be that our main title is Clutha Budget Advisory Service. So we provide the Food Hub service for the Clutha District.
And you will move from
Correct.
the current premises totally to this new one. Cool.
Councillor Wheeler, followed by Catherine, then South.
Just a question. I'm not sure if it's to Steve or to you. You'll be occupying the whole of the premises. Would you? Or is that the intention? Sorry.
To be discussed. So we have haven't had too much of a discussion. We would be interested in the full building, but open to discussion if there were other opportunities available.
You'll be able to make full use of the full whole building. Activities with,
Yes, it's certainly large enough. Yes.
and I guess the question for the Chief Executive, is the property still going to remain on the market? Or withdraw it from the market if we have a long-term lease?
So through your worship, it would be just like we had, you made decisions before about when Hairworks were operating from it, that we weren't going to sell the building out from under Hairworks if they wanted to continue to So if we're going to receive market rental, which is equivalent to receiving, the sale price cash other than the fact you cash up front, then we wouldn't be putting it on the market. Otherwise, what's the point of the transfer? They need some certainty for for their services. And it'd be the same actually if we leased it to anybody else. We're not advertising it for short-term lease, pending sale. We're advertising it as a sale or a lease arrangement.
Councillor Catherwood, followed by me.
Yes, thank you, Worship. Current rental agreement, yeah, now, what are you paying currently?
You don't get to answer that if you don't want it. Commercial sense.
I've seen it. It is reasonably
It's relevant because A doesn't include insurance and rates.
That's a fair question.
Because is the 20,000 that we're talking using a return on our council property, is it plus? Is it going to be? Is that plus GST? Is that plus rates? Is that plus insurance on top of it?
That's a fair question.
No, it'll be under the same terms and conditions we had for Airworks.
Included rates.
So there'll be some inclusions and some exclusions. Like that. So we wouldn't be doing anything different than what we had for the existing tenants in terms of that arrangement. So there's no special deal around that side. It'll be whatever that's going to be.
So is it plus? Is it plus GST? Is it plus insurance? And is it plus rates?
I haven't got the market valuation that's being advertised.
Probably a question for you, Steve. Somewhere back, where was that building for earthquake prone? No, I'm asking. I was thinking we had an issue, but
well, I mean, the problem, Your Worship, is that if we discuss all the flaws with the building in public, if there are flaws in the building, it may not be easy to boom and lease it or sell it in the future if that's going to be the case. So, you know, you don't want to go down too far in many pathways on things. The issue that we have is we've got a willing tenant at market rate that we don't have.
I'll go to my next one. While it hasn't sold or been leased, are there any other people interested?
Not that we're aware of.
Councillor Grant.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's basically my question. Has there been any interest to buy it? I take it that there hasn't. If we're going down this.
No, and there had been some, there are peculiar, anybody will be aware there are peculiarities with the building that do cause give some constraints to market sale and market lease.
Okay. Further questions, Tim? If not, thank you. Are you able to just, if you grab a chair near the rostrum there, and if we need you, we'll call you back. But thank you once again. Where do we go first? We'll go first for the wider questions to staff, even though Steve's done it. Is there any there before we go to general council level?
Just a question to staff, in that I believe this is endowment land. Because I can remember it when it was purchased, and I have a feeling this is endowment land. So does that have any changes to the way we perceive the use of the building? I mean, if it was sold, it would have to go back into, you need to, I just think that's a consideration, but staff may have to check that I'm right in saying that, but I can kind of vaguely remember when that was.
What do we buy it for?
Ah.
What purpose do we buy it for? I can't even
When you do
It's one of
Yeah, or for the eyesight.
What would that have made? Why did that make it endowment land? I think you're right, but I'm trying
I
to
think
think why.
it came from the sale of endowment land to purchase. I'm sure it was endowment funds.
You know the one on the corner over the road from Topoma that we own? Did we sell that and buy that?
Maybe.
But Your
No,
Worship,
but
but the answer to the question is that buying a property with endowment funds doesn't make it endowment property, endowment land. What the requirement always has been is if you used endowment funds, that the return needs to be back to the purpose for which the endowment was given, right? So if you bought the property for investment related purposes, and it's been returning money to the right thing, then selling it or leasing it still achieves the same aim. Makes no difference.
So councillor Kennedy followed by McTamaney.
Sorry.
Probably for you, Steve. Property as it is, are we going to have to do an investment into the property to hand over to this group, or is everything okay?
There was a suggestion that we would invest in the property to try and achieve a higher price, but we didn't believe that that was something we wanted to necessarily go down the pathway of. We aren't expecting to have to do anything in that respect, but the question might be to what extent has with the budget advice, are their eyes open? And we can ask that question around that. I mean, at the end of the day, I recognise there were some questions around GST this or GST that or other aspects of, the rates and the other bits and pieces like that. Yes, but my answer to that is we're advertising it now for a market rental that has gone through all the process for that, have done the full valuations of things. And it is inclusive or exclusive or whatever it normally is. I just haven't got it to me, right? And that's no different from any other expectation you would have or any other arrangement you would have. And so that won't be reduced, subsidised or whatever by anything that's decided. That is the rate, including this or excluding that is what it's always going to be, right? Doesn't change. And if you chose to go down this pathway and said yes, and if the budget advice looked at it and said, oh, we didn't expect to have all these bills or other bits and pieces on it, and it's beyond us in that sense, well, it doesn't happen, right? Because all we're doing is asking whether or not you wish to enter a lease under these terms and conditions. So both parties have to agree to that. The idea for us is that all that's being suggested is on the face of it, what we would be leasing something for as per the valuation. And a subsequent second question is what, if anything, would be locking us into for a period of time grants to budget advice at any particular rate. That's what you're being asked to make a call on, and you could decide that you don't want to go down that pathway at all. But that's how you would measure it. So I don't see that whilst there are some questions to be resolved, I still don't see those as issues in relation to your decision.
Councillor Marshall.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Steve, yes, but sometimes the devil's in the detail, and even the budget advisory representatives here have actually not quite sure. It's come out of the conversations if they want the whole of the building, part of the building, if the other ones are coming with them. But my recommendation would be to go back to the staff and actually consult a bit more with the Balclutha Budget Advisory Service and pin down some of these details, as Councillor Catherwood brought up, some of the information that these ladies are still working through with all the detail around the building, and give us a more formed report to form a decision on. That would be my thinking.
Well, can I respond, Your Worship? I mean, the alternative to that is that what they've indicated, budget advice have indicated that they're prepared to accept a lease at the market value of $20,000 per annum for the building, right? So if they don't have to use it all or whatever, that's still for the building. It's not being suggested it's less, because the moment we talk less, we're talking a different complication, and we're not receiving what it is that we're supposed to be getting, which is a market return. With no subsidy, a market return for the building, no different to anybody else. If they choose to do something else with it, in that sense, or if they wish to ask us whether they wish to sublet it to try and reduce costs, they have to get approval from us anyway, because they're leasing it. So that is something that is yet to be looked at. But the point is, they've indicated that they are prepared to accept paying market rate, $20,000 per annum for a normal commercial lease. Right. So I don't see what we need to then resolve. If, as I said to you, if if there was a subsequent issue that they're not happy with anything else that comes out of the woodwork that was expected, if it was rates or if it was insurance or whatever, they can say no, and that's it. It doesn't affect us because we've just got normal terms and conditions, and this is what the offer is.
So there was a flurry of hands, but I think I've got it right with Graham, McIntyre, Catherwood and myself. Anyone
Through you,
going to
Mr.
counter that?
Couple of questions for the ladies. You've been on the property and had a look inside. Are you quite happy with what's there? Thank you.
Councillor McIntyre.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my question, ladies, was just relating to just going off tack a little bit, just relating to the location. It's and the sensitivity of how people, when they go to the food bank, the location is quite close to the main street and lots of people, or the clients, do you think they will have comfort going to that location? Or do they want to be a bit more discreet?
We have had exactly that conversation, and our coordinator was confident that we would be able to put a process in place for clients who felt that they needed some more privacy. I believe there are a couple of entrances to the building, one of them which is around the back of the building. So she was confident that she would be able to support clients in that way who felt they needed a bit more privacy.
Councillor Catherwood, followed by Sarah.
I'm actually just going to put up the rating demand on it because the figure of the actual topic of insurance and plus GSTs and all those sort of rates and insurance. Actually, I can see rates and insurance being there up to probably $8,000 to $9,000. So that figure does have an implication to me, and if we don't know what that is, then I can't really be. I find that the report's got lack of information. So the only way, unless we can take it off the table and bring it back with that information, because as a return, if it's valued at 220,000 and you're talking 20,000, if it's 20,000 including rates and insurance and everything like that, and you're giving $10,000 from the UAGC, it's actually not a very good investment for ourselves.
Right, I'm going to push things along, and so my logic and it is that I'm still nervous. The reasons Councillor Catherwood said, I also asked the question for the fact that are we going to have some ongoing costs that we don't know? And then I rub that all out and say I'm going to support Food Bank. If they're happy, and I trust Steve to be able to tie up the loose ends, it might not fall into the government's core services, but if we don't support them, we'll lose them. And I'm more than happy to put a stable food bank in this district, a stable budget advice, knowing, let's forget all this. What are they actually doing? The contribution they're making, the changes that they're making, if they feel it's a good deal, if Steve makes sure that their interests are protected, I'm happy to give it that. And there's only one way we're going to test it, so I want to move.
Your Worship, just beforehand, can you just to allay some fears? There's no situation that would occur that council would incur additional costs over and above the rental return of the 20,000, and or what you would normally have as a landlord, right? That you would be.
So I don't want to go back to it, but I did mention the word earthquake prone. If that came up and we aren't extracting the money that we need to do it, then we will wear one. But I'm willing to just go right past that, and you'll tie that up, and we'll support our food bank, and I'll test the council. So I'm happy to move recommendations 1, 2, and 3, and I'm looking for a second. Councillor Graham, thank you. That is open for discussion. Councillor Ledman.
I actually support this because at the moment that building, and for some time now, is sat empty. That's rental that we've lost, and it might sit empty for quite some time. We've got a group here which are supporting a big part of our district at the moment those that are in need. It's no different to the 25 that we've already promised them. The only comment I would make, if there is concern about the 10K per annum, that's already been done for this financial year. And whether that is the one area that could be readdressed as time goes on. I'd like to see it as part of this now, but I'm not sure for how many years. I do see that as a concern, and it perhaps is something that should be looked at on a 3-yearly basis with your long-term plan. So I'd be happy to, for the next 2 years, when's our next long-term plan?
Would it go with rent reviews more than?
Well, with something like, I'd be happy to not, that can't be for an indefinite period, but to look at a timeline for the 10K. Otherwise, I totally support things.
Councillor Payne.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I too support this, but I'm thinking to myself, what is the time frame that these people want to get into this building? And is it urgent, or is it, have we got a bit of space? Because I like Councillor Catherine, we are lacking a little bit of information. I would like to know what that is. So I'm happy to support, subject to getting that little bit of information back.
Can you please, if you want to?
Certainly.
Okay.
Our hope for timeframe is to be moving in at the end of October and fully in situ for November when we do our annual Toot for Tucker appeal. So we can fill that space with all of the donations we receive in for the Toot for Tucker appeal.
Thank you. So we have got a little bit of time.
Councillor Martin.
Chair, I don't think anyone in this room doubts the good work that these ladies and their team do. That's not up for question. We know the good work that they do in the community. But I believe that I will not support your recommendation because I believe there's more detail required. And that's what I'll be asking the staff to come back with.
Councillor Catherwood.
Okay. So, yes, so ladies, I appreciate the work that you guys do, and it's not against that, and I'm all for, if it's actually saving you guys money, this arrangement and all that, I'm all for that, right? So in the situation, you found a thing that you can save it, works out funding wise, all that sort of carrying. There's no issues. But today I will not be supporting those 3 recommendations because there is too many unknowns. And I mean, again, you've got your 25,000 locked up from the UAGC this year. And actually, if this was going to get locked up and funded on a long-term basis, if it came back with some more information of the true cost, I just looked at the rates on it at 4,692. So if it is included, it's only 5G. Then you've got the rates to go to next thing you're getting 2G of a $220,000 building. You'd be better off to wait for that to be sold. So I'm not going to be in support of it today because I would drive more numbers with the decision. And then even if we do go long term with it, I believe that it should be being based here and what it achieves in this Clutha that should be coming into the communities of interest into the Clutha ward, the cost, not the UAGC. So I've got a few issues with the whole topic. I voted against the 25,000 being initially at our annual plan. I recall I voted against it. The mere fact of the funding mechanism of the UAGC. I know that the majority supported it through the UAGCs. But today I will be voting against the recommendations.
Further questions, Tanya? Let's speak.
No, discussion.
There's no more questions. Sorry, no further, then I'll close the discussion. I suppose I've been privy and working with Food Bank / Budget Advice. We went up to MSD, please. There's got to be a more sustainable footing. There's a precarious situation. Knowing how the Budget Advice took up the food bank that was dropped, we were going to lose it, and if it wasn't for them, And I know that we had absolutely nowhere else to turn to than them, so thank goodness they did pick it up. MSD was reticent and gave us a one-off payment. Didn't set them up sustainable, and it's always weighed heavily. They go, a double bang. We've only then got Anglican Family Care left, basically as the social service giving it back up. Because that was Anglican Family Care and budget advice were the only two options we had for the food bank. So it's always sort of, wouldn't it be good if we could support? I totally agree and appreciate that I would trust Steve in the fact that we wouldn't be stretched out to a 20-year lease and our interests are protected, but there's interest in the wider community here at stake. And I plead with you, please, if we've got the chance to set our food bank budget advice that provides for our entire district on a sounder footing, we should take it. So I'll put it to the vote. Can we please hold them high so Julie can, and Julie, when she says yay, we'll drop them. Right? So all those in favour, please raise your hands and say aye. Okay, now what is that?
Sorry.
9, Your Worship.
Those against, please raise your hands and say no. Motion's carried. Thank you for that.
Was there any?
Abstentions. I think I got the one.
I would have made a amendment.
Ken, were you an abstention?
Yeah, I did.
Ken's abstaining. Done. So I didn't see that. Thank you, Tim. Move on to item 2, Milahuku Charter. And as your lead team, please pass on, as always, to your group, our appreciation for the work you do. It means one hell of a lot to us. Go on.
Sorry, team, just Your Worship, through Your Worship. I've got to stay for the next item, so I'll come back and we'll have a chat about what we need to do.
Agenda item number 2 is your one as well, Steve. Anything you wish to add?
Yes, Your Worship, I mean, this has arisen from Te Ao, Marama, Murahuku, and Papatipu Runanga down that way. It is about the Turupataio in Murahuku, and it is about the charter. Now, there has been some, and I'll take the report as read, there has been some further developments in that originally the Turupataio meeting in Murahuku is scheduled for tomorrow. So that's still happening. And it was intended that the charter be brought to that meeting for adoption, having been signed by all the other participatory councils. And we were and would be the last council before tomorrow's meeting, but that's how we scheduled it. We were able to do that. So just the update is that at least one council, Invercargill City Council, has said they're not signing it because they want to hold off to the new council, and that meant that it can't be signed tomorrow as a result of that. It hasn't stopped other councils signing the charter, and so therefore it didn't stop our report. It doesn't stop the work that's been done, the intent of the new charter moving forward, and that's why we're still bringing it to council for it. So I just needed to update you on what's happening there in the world around us. But Turupataio is tomorrow, and whether you approve it or not will be advised to the meeting tomorrow.
And I was contacted last night just for transparency and asked that they still really, they would appreciate if we could sign it. Sends a clear message, if nothing else. So do not think because Invercargill voted one way that it should influence our vote. Questions for Steve before we head into the discussion? Councillor Campbell.
So through you, Chair Steve. So if Invercargill it rolls around to their time to sign and they don't, does that change anything? Or can they hiccup it, or what happens here?
Also, through you, Your Worship, I mean, the charter is a charter of participating councils. And there was full expectation that all participatory councils are part of the process and therefore would sign, and then so would our iwi partners equally. So if a council decides not to, and that translate to won't sign it at all, then it throws out the charter because it's not a charter of all the councils. It would be renegotiated for willing partners.
Councillor Graham.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's my understanding, I may be wrong, but it wasn't actually, ICC didn't actually vote against it, did it? It was the decision of the mayor to defer it to the incoming council's decision, as according to the ODT.
No, they had a vote and he used his casting vote.
No, Your Worship, I think Councillor Graham might be right in the sense of how he's technically described it. The effect was still the same, is that it wasn't going to be signed for the meeting tomorrow. And some mechanics were put in place, or a mechanic was put in place so that it was deferred. So I might have been incorrect in how I described it, but the effect is still the same.
So over the years, quite a few years actually, Councillor Volwell has been our main representative. And I was wondering, Bruce, did you want to just give an insight and overview into the value you place on the relationship and how you see it affecting council?
Well, it's as you say, it's a relationship, Your Worship, and it's an important relationship too with one of our iwi partners, which we're required to have some regard to, according to the Local Government Act and Resource Management Act. As far as the charter goes itself, it's not greatly changed. I haven't identified the changes, but it's really similar to what we've had in the past anyway, so there's nothing really new in the fact of having this charter. We're not treading new ground at all in any way, so I'm certainly comfortable with it. I've enjoyed the relationships. I've really gone to those meetings when His Worship and with the Chief Executive haven't been able to go, so I've enjoyed those relationships, and they haven't really placed an onus on us, and they do help particularly our regulatory team, our planning team too, having good relationships with Hiku, and also one I'm not so familiar with is the Otakau Dunedin end of there's also Te Raupotaua there, but that's similar too, and they're important relationships, and I think they do ease the work, make the work that our particularly our regulatory team do, but all staff and Chief Executive as well, does ease that. So I'm certainly in favour of this being endorsed by Council.
Thank you, Bruce. And from my perspective, I can't overemphasise how the operational, the consenting side, that's the, when we speak, we're meant to be focused on that. But there's also the wider relationship and the wider responsibilities or obligations under the treaty, the mana relationship that the mayor's meant to have. And to me, it would be inconceivable when I heard back that Invercargill, so like, you want to be my friend? No, I'm going to go away and think about it. What are you thinking about? You've already told me where you are. It would be inconceivable for me to think how the heck was I meant to develop a relationship that I was nervous and unfamiliar with. I'll be quite open about that. But to go down there and, they're good people. And there's no fish hooks. I've never seen a fish hook in 15 years. It's a friendship, it's a relationship, it's working. And to actually say we won't sign it, it's like me saying I'm considering being your friend. You've already made your decision when you have that conversation. So I only see good out of it. Councillor Catherwood.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship, and Councillor Volwell. Good to hear you guys. Good to hear some feedback on the relationship. Just did notice though,
page 15 there's no central Otago. They're on the other side of the river. There's no central, they made the call that if you're on the north, you go north, and if you're on the south, you go to
Dunedin's. No, so
yeah, it was their call.
so Otago Regional Council's in here, representing all of Otago?
Yeah, but it was their call. They made.
We're in the
Okay, that's right.
Councillor Martin, follow both things.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. And cheers, Bruce. Actually, it was just recently that it came to light that it actually existed when I recirculated that email back with what he is actually talking about. But to shorten it all up, if you go to page 19 and look at 2.2.1, it tells you there the purpose. And 2.2.2 tells you our obligation that we have with the treaty as local government, and that's about all that needs to be explained. And just because Invercargill didn't sign, we've got nothing to do with Invercargill. It's about us and working with our partners and making life simple for our regulatory departments here in our own organisations.
And you will remember the induction time when we all went over it.
No, I wasn't here, if you remember that.
If you were there, it explains the surprise.
Yes, so a bit of follow-up support for the council. Excuse me, Councillor Campbell. A bit of follow-up support for the councillors that weren't here would have been much appreciated, Your Worship.
Where were we? Councillor Fincher, though.
Thank you. On page 24, under 3.2.2D, seats on council standing committees. What's that about, Steve?
What number?
On page 24, under 3.22D, seats on council standing committee.
Yes, so, but if you, through you, Your Worship, if you read the sentence prefacing it, it says opportunities for representation include but limited to, and I think it actually probably be not limited to, as opposed to that, they might have missed out a word in that one.
Right.
Opportunities for representation include but not limited to, and it lists a whole raft of things, plus there could be other things. It doesn't hold anybody to do anything in respect of vote. It doesn't say that's what's going to be the case. It just says it. And some people have taken up those opportunities and others haven't.
Invercargill has everyone talked for there's some
Regional.
There's a few that do it and a few that
Yeah,
Councillor Bold.
thank you.
I was just going to say, sort of in relation to that, in former times we used to have a waste working party and a wastewater working party, and we had iwi representatives on there. So that's just an opportunity there, yeah. And they didn't have a role on council or voting rights at council itself. I'm prepared to move recommendation 1 that we received.
As far as you go.
Do one at a time.
Councillor Wheeler moved, Councillor Payne seconded. All those in favour? Those against? Councillor Kennedy.
No, well, being Councillor Wheeler hasn't done it, but I was happy to move that we approve council signing of the charter.
Happy to second that. Councillor Grant. Oh, sorry. Any discussion on it before we put to the vote? Put to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Thank you. Catch a point, Esplanade. Playground. Lovely. Lily, no, it's mine.
Sorry, don't get me.
Down to the top.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm happy to take the item as read. Just before I take any questions, just note that Anna Cross is sitting up the back. So Anna's been leading this project since 2021. We've been supporting her throughout that time, but she's done it's an outstanding effort, and mainly her, but she's had some support as well from the committee. Raised over $300,000, excluding council's amount that they've also allocated. So it's an outstanding effort, really. So but we're now getting down to the nitty gritty. So happy to take your questions.
So before questions shot, team, please pass it on. I read that figure and couldn't believe the money that you'd fundraised. Well done. There's a bit of guts and effort going on there. Appreciate it. Councillor Graham.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm just staggered by the cost of some of this stuff. It's $3,000 for a rubbish bin, and I know it's got shiny bits at the top and not so shiny bits at the bottom, but and some of the stuff is, I know that obviously the Primo playground people, gee, there's got to be a cheaper option somewhere, I reckon. Staggering.
Yeah, well, you
Potentially, but we're taking the lead from the playground committee in terms of they're raising the funds, and they're leading, I guess, in terms of what they want. So you just have to look at the plans to see it's a really high spec playground that they're aiming for. So
I don't disagree. I don't disagree, Mike. But if people see the price of that, and they're going to have some neck with, gee, you guys paid $3,000 for rubbish. Sorry, you should.
Councillor Ludeman, followed by Payne McCrosty.
Well, firstly, I'd actually like to congratulate this group. They're great, and I like your choice of equipment as well. But my question is, of the grant funding that's actually in progress there, is there any update on that 229,000?
Through you, Your Worship. So I asked Anna that question myself, and at this stage, no, there is no update.
Hopeful?
Very hopeful. I think we find out at the beginning of September, particularly for one of our bigger ones, which is lotteries. So, yeah, but hopeful. Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Payne.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just through you. Look, I congratulate the group too. I recently pulled into Timaru and had a look at what they got there, and it's outstanding. And we've got a destination place down here, endeavour park. Kiddies is fantastic. But I do have a question. The wave shelter and the barbecue. I'm looking at the pictures here, and all I can see is seashore in the background behind the wave shelter. Is that part of the park, or is that actually across the road?
That's part of the park.
It's in the park.
Yes, it's in the playground.
It doesn't look like it in the picture, but it's, of course it's all. Okay. Yeah, and the barbecue will be in the park.
It will be, yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I think that's just a mock-up. It's not.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's just the way it is. I thought, wow, is it or isn't it?
Councillor McCrosty.
Is this looks very similar to the equipment of Wahole? Would that be right, Mike?
Some of it would be.
Yeah, because it's really good. And is it the same under equipment matting?
The surface
Or
matting.
is that matter stuff?
Yes,
Yep.
yeah, the safety servicing, which we're going with play top, has been recommended by the playground centre.
Yep.
Yeah.
Councillor Graham.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Just on the fencing around the treatment plant or whatever it is there, is considering what's happened around the country, that'll have to be pretty robust sort of child-proof sort of stuff, is it? Well, to have a what's actually just a pump station next to a playground. And I know it's been there for a while, and the playground's been there for a while, and that's not an argument. But you'd have to make sure it's pretty childproof, wouldn't you? To the extreme.
Yep. So Your Worship, that is the plan. Yes, absolutely. But both fences, so that includes the beside the esplanade and also around the side of the plant there. So absolutely.
The pump station is completely underground. The only time that the initial was noticed that all the pumping gear is underground. So there isn't a significant risk to anybody when it's not being serviced.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
It's a relatively low density at the moment.
The questions, team. Councillor Martin, followed by Herbert.
Oh, through you, Your Worship, it just wasn't so much a question, it was just to reassure Councillor Graham that the products that go inside playgrounds after a first-hand experience myself, and the generosity of yourself too, Councillor Graham and the rest of the councillors in the CDC who helped with the Lawrence redevelopment of the playground, that yes, this is reality. They are true costs. It's not a cheap project, but if you're going to do it once, do it right. And it looks like this community is doing it right. Would be my only advice. The fencing is expensive, as we all know, because the CDC paid $40,000 just to put that wee fence around the Lawrence playground. And it's got a state highway 8 going right past it. So yeah, do it once, do it right, and I congratulate the community of Kaka Point for doing what they're doing. So I know the pain.
Councillor Herman.
Thank you. So given the nature of where it sits beside the sea, I'm presuming that it is very, very expensive. In fact, in my retirement, I think I might start making playground equipment. It is all fit for the environment being beside the sea, salt water, the equipment we're talking about?
You might ask Anna.
Yes, it is. Yes, playground centre, that was one of the factors, and it's all, I don't know the wording around it, but it's definitely fit for purpose beside the sea. Yeah.
We're not going to see you back here in 5 years' time with all the rusty stuff. And
No, definitely not.
Councillor McCamerly.
Yeah, thank you. A question probably back to Anna. So Councillor Letterman's already asked about the grant funding and progress. What if you weren't to get it? What's the plan? Do you plug on, or do you downscale the project?
We would probably look at downscaling perhaps the surface netting, because that's quite a cost. And then we would just be plugging on and fundraising.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just wondering how that fits with what we're being asked for today, if you had to spend less.
Okay, any further questions? Discussion? Recommendations?
You need to recommend.
You reckon? Go for it, Nate.
I'll take recommendation 1.
Yeah.
Receive the report, and then on recommendation 2, we're going to go for the positives because they are going to get their funding. We're going to go for does on A, B, and C.
Yeah. And what's your thoughts on number 3?
He's in.
Huh?
You're in, you don't need to buy votes.
Don't.
I'm not buying votes.
Yeah, what about 3?
On 3,
Coming
yep,
up 3?
does.
Does.
Additional funding.
Right, does.
And just from the Parks and Reserves Contribution Fund, what would you be suggesting?
I'll probably take it from the investment fund surplus because there's still some left over, isn't there? That's how we're funded our 50-50s.
Oh, yes, true. In that respect, but also my understanding is that the reserves contributions that we get, I think, is the reserve contribution fund. So it is there to support.
It's designed for that.
Reserve improvement. It's not a lot of money, but it is there to support those sorts of things.
Reserves and Parks Contributions Fund.
So then I'll second that.
Are you campaigning?
Yeah, well, what? I'm out of here. I'm sending a clear message to our Prime Minister on what I think core services are. Further discussion, sorry. No further discussion, rightio, let's, we better have a show of hands, shall we? Righto, Julia's totally in charge of here. So all those in favour to all those recommendations, please raise your hands and say aye. Aye. Too easy. Look at that, Anna. We can do things almost as fast as you can. Can you please pass on to your group? We're in awe of what you're doing down there. And actually, the whole working and living and everything was the hope of finding young people like you to take the reins. So well done. Thank you. That wasn't campaigning either, too. Right, I'm getting there. Temporary road closure. So every single thing we've done today is not quite been core service.
We just made a note that Councillor Cross is.
Oh, yeah. Councillor McCluskey.
Doors over there.
Core service.
It is a core service.
Core service.
There's the door, you'll know where it
Right, we'll pull it back in. Craig, welcome. Please, do you have anything to add to your report?
No, is there, other than it's, the Catlins Rally Sprint is run over 2 days. So it's 2 different bits of road that are used, on both the Saturday and then Hannibal Bay Road's used on the Sunday. This event's been run for the last 4 years, I think. Councillor McCrosty's nodding his head. And it's very successful event run in the Catlins. So some of the best roads from the what used to be the Catlins Coast Rally, and so yeah, it's well supported event.
Questions for Craig? Craig, I've got one. It's the outstanding one. I never actually know. We put gravel on the roads. We've been doing Bentley. We've got them in there. And they come and sweep them all off. What do you feel our roads are left in as good as? Where are we? Are we losing money?
No, a lot of that comes around planning of maintenance around the event. So obviously we endeavour to have the road due for a grade after the event rather than just before the event, which means that there's a minimum of loose metal on the roads before the event to get scooted off. If anything, and I'm a wee bit biased here because I organise rallies, but I often say to the locals, and they'll often agree with me too, that after the rally's gone through, the suspension on the cars is that good that they smooth out the corrugations in the road.
Right, yeah. You're sort of taking up politics. And then the only other one that I have is that, and I know that it's been school time and this is in the weekend. Oh, well, Dane will be taking the long way to church on Sunday. Is there have you accommodated for, I can't even think what's there, but we're not going to get caught out with, oh God, we didn't think of that event, that they were going to be using the road.
Yeah, no, so the car clubs do go and visit all the residents, actually speak to every resident before the event. And the likes of an event like a rally sprint or a hill climb where it's using the same bit of road for the whole day, they do several runs. Between runs, the locals have the opportunity to come and go on the road. So it's not like the road is closed solid for a full day.
You'll make the service on time, Dane. You'll be fine. Councillor Graham.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. If I know I appreciate you say gets graded after, but if there was an event that there was some serious damage done to, I don't know, do you cross bridges or whatever, it's not at a cost to us. You guys have the insurance and all that.
So any damage to, yeah, Motorsport New Zealand holds insurance of 10, I think it's actually 50 million. I've got it.
10 in your report.
It's 10 million. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. It's only much. Yeah, so 10 million, and of course there's a limitation on forest fires because the government kicks in after whatever it is, 2 million, I think. But there is, so if they damage, say they damage site rails on a bridge or whatever, then they will be responsible for repair of that damage. Also, if there's a like I know in the Catlins Coast rallies, when we started using a bit down past Warren Burgess's, which was a very average road when we started, we actually, well, the car club, and so we was involved with the car club, paid to put a bit of metal on that road in the interest of we wanted to keep using that road in the future. So if the occasion does arise where there's damage to the road, then the expectation is that the car club will, if there's exceptional damage, the car club will not leave us in the lurch.
Right, because I do know from experience, because I actually keep the verge in front of my property right along the road to the bridge, neat and mowed and everything, and whenever there's a rally and there's been a few go past, they do sweep the gravel off the road, don't they? Right, so that I can't mow my lawns without breaking all the gravel off.
Get a rain.
The leaf race worked really well, and the reason I know that is I just run the Wyndham Rally down south last weekend, and on Sunday we did go around and break some stones off the odd lawn.
Yeah.
Five Cross Road.
Right, team, we've got some, are we ready to do councillor Finch?
Yeah, happy to move recommendation 1 and 2.
Deputy Secretary. Seconded, councillor Catherwood. Any discussion on that, councillor
Just
Harris?
one further question. What's the protocol around emergency services, like a fire alarm or an ambulance needs to be called? Obviously, the event can be shut down quite quickly.
Yeah.
And can you talk to people, each person in each car?
So generally in that instance, the cars will stop going into the road straight away, and emergency services are aware of the event, and they'll come to the start of the road and they'll go in with the traffic generally. They have the phone number to ring the event organiser. So that as part of the event, the organisers also contact emergency services, so police, fans, are aware of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, team, thrashed it out, put it to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Did anyone abstain there? No? No. You're back, Dean. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Right now, let's do some gear changes. So there's some minutes there from the 26th of June and the 10th of July for the council meetings. I'm happy to move them. Is someone happy to second them? Second, councillor Phelps. Any discussion? All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Over page 72, which is infrastructure, strategy and operations on the 24th of July. Someone to move, councillor Graham, seconded. Seconded, councillor Volwela. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Regulatory and community.
Happy to move.
Councillor Finch has moved. Who seconded? Councillor Herbert. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? And the corporate and policy. Councillor Ludeman, seconded councillor Phelps. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Risk and assurance. Noting. So, yeah, councillor Ludeman's noting and Kennedy seconding. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? A few more pages on the old Alderton risk. West Otago noting. Councillor Herbert, councillor Kennedy seconding. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Lawrence Community Board, councillor Martin moving. I'll second. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Youth Council, councillor Payne moving, councillor Finch seconding. All those, and that was noting, yeah. All those in favour? Those against? Thank you. Then on to my mayoral report. For some reason, it's only 2 pages, and yet I'm absolutely exhausted. I can't think of a time where it's been busier, but I noted there was 47 telephone calls one day, which was, I think, my record for 15 years, but busy time. We'll put round the councillors' reports, starting with councillor Kennedy.
Yeah, citizenship ceremony and any of the other meetings that I've attended. Also, to let people know next year, 50-year jubilee for Blue Mountain College. You know anyone that attended, please let them know that it is going ahead. Me.
Thank you, Michelle. Councillor Phelps.
Thank you, Worship. But quite usual meetings, each of the recent citizenship, great turnout, good night. That's about it.
Thank you, Wayne. Councillor McAtamaney.
Very similar to previous councillors, meetings and citizenship.
You tried to pavlov.
I did try the pavlov.
Well done. Well, it was a bloody goodie, It's my best ever. I've got one more to go. It'll be even better.
Yep.
The secret was I used my wife's eggs, and we're still arguing about it.
I only tried it because that's what it was your last one.
Councillor Finch.
Thank you. On the 27th, dangerous dog hearing, and in the afternoon, Otago Museum Board on the 7th of July, Youth Council, the 10th, Southern Water done well. On the 13th, I spent 2 hours at the dog park. On the 14th, Tiger Mouth Amenity Society. The 15th, Waiho looking forward. 21st, CE review. 24th, the committees. 28th, Youth Council workshop. The today, the workshop Mount Cowie, and just last weekend, a couple of hours at the dog park again, doing stuff on gates.
There you go, mate. Councillor McCrosty.
Citizenship, normal council, Southern Water done well. What have we done? 3 trips over to Torrey Mouth, specified ratepayers. Well, I'm looking forward, and we're going to be at well. That's it.
Who are you visiting? Who
Who
was he visiting at Torrey Mouth? Take your day, Councillor Payne. I'll leave it there.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Your Worship. So Youth Council, LGNZ, candidates night, had a couple of Topoma meetings, an age concern. I met with Mark Patterson the other day. It's just all about Telford in the future. Caught up with Edie and Keelan, just with job opportunities, and had a good time away with them too, just quietly. Friday water meetings with teams, Southland Water done well, went to the Gore Council to listen to their decision, and of course just recently the citizenship. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Ken, and it was quite disconcerting for Eden and Kellen when the taxi driver asked Ken and I, are our wives okay? Councillor Graham.
Yeah, just the usual stuff. And the candidate info meeting, and I did attend a regional transport meeting in Gore. And yesterday I did the one of those Minecraft awareness units at the University of Century Lagan.
Well done. Thank you, Bruce. Councillor Herbert.
Thank you, Your Worship. Oh, dear. 7th of July, I had the Glenkennick Water Scheme meeting. 9th of July, Westoak Community Board. Then 21st was the CE review, and then last week, the citizenship ceremony.
Cheers, John. Councillor Ledman.
Did a dangerous dog hearing, Clutha development meeting, 2 of them actually, because one was with Mark Patterson, Clutha Rec Centre meeting, citizenship ceremony, and the CE review.
Thank you, Helen. Councillor Mann.
Yes, very much similar to everyone else in the room, Your Worship. Lots of community organisations, volunteer organisations have been attending, as well as the other clubs of interest. And while we're on a wee bit of history, in 1876, Thomas Bracken's poem, God Defend New Zealand, music, right, was accepted. And the music came for the God Defend New Zealand in a little township called Lyons. And in 1977, the Queen consented to God Defend New Zealand has the same equal status as God Save the Queen or the King. In 2026, it's going to be 150 years since the music and the poem was adopted. And it's going to be a warrant. So I reckon be very mindful, all your new councillors and incoming mayors, that there's going to be a big hilly on in the Lawrence Cherpick Award.
But imagine with all those visitors, how much it's going to cost you for cups of coffee. Councillor, thank you, John. Councillor Von Wheeler.
Thanks, Your Worship. Well, I expect Councillor Martin to play the chairman's trumpet. Friday, the 27th of June, we had the dangerous dog control hearing. 15th of July, well, looking forward. Citizenship ceremony just last week it was, and yesterday, Monday, I went to Otago Housing Alliance meeting in Dunedin, which is just a diverse group of interested various groups that get together looking at homelessness and housing conditions and things like that. Yeah.
It's been an interesting one. Thank you, Bruce. Councillor Catherine.
Council, obviously committees, today's workshop, and then another wee one, I don't know how it came up on it, but had a wee look, well, I highly recommend it, is the Waitaki District Council that decided to stay in-house on their Southern Water's Done Well decision, had some workshops, and I found it actually quite informative and quite interesting on their YouTube. So if you do want to, it was very informative angle.
I think I passed it on to all councillors.
If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. On YouTube, you can the Waitaki District Council have done quite a lot of homework on where their decision lies, and it's actually very well done.
And they got absolutely eviscerated by DIA. It's another matter. Thank you, Dane. Questions for questions? Anyone got a, Councillor Abbott?
Probably to Councillor Finch. So the dog, what was the nature of the offence and what was the fate of the dog?
The dog is still in existence. The gate hadn't shut correctly when somebody went in, and there was a father and two young girls and the mother walking a young pup, and the dog got out and caused a bit of damage to the person walking the pup because he picked it up at the time. And it only had one wee nip, but the owner himself, he should have had sutures, but he doesn't like being stitched up, so he just did the tough line thing. And so the dog has been classified as dangerous.
Further questions, team? Got a recommendation back there somewhere, back on page 123. Councillor Phelps and someone else seconded, Councillor Herbert seconding, all those in favour? Those against, thank you. Over there, Chief Executive's report.
Just happy to take the report as read, Your Worship, and take questions.
Any questions, team? Councillor Graham?
Yeah, through you. Steve, contract 851, the Norton Streetscape one, 58 tenders downloaded. Is that normal? Is that a high number or?
Through you, Your Worship, Donna's right there that can speak in 2 secs to that, whether it's normal.
There we are. Can you hear me? Yeah. Through you, Worship. So, no, that is relatively high, to be honest, which is a positive, we see anyway.
Okay.
Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you, through you, Worship. Just on page 130, the requests under the Official Information Act, the second to the bottom, member of the public, request for specialist report on Limeworks Road. Was there a report commissioned on Limeworks Road, or was it they are expecting us to? Do you know, Steve?
Through Your Worship, I can't recall. You'll note there's quite a few of them. Becky and Di, more specifically Diane. You got any? You run those things, Di?
It was the report was commissioned, and the requester wanted a copy of what was commissioned.
I suppose through Your Worship, we'll also take the opportunity to mention a couple of things. I should have done that at the start. In those Lagoimas, those official information requests, you'll see that 48 was one line representing 48 same form requests for information from the anti-rates cap campaign. So those all had to be answered. It was basically the same answer, but we had to address them. And the second thing is that with the rates assessments that have gone out, the amount of communication we've had and feedback from concerned ratepayers and the type of conversation that they've had has had a significant impact on staff resources in terms of how many resources we've had to apply to it, and also stress and pressure, because it was an extremely trying time for ratepayers, but the staff that are receiving the calls as well. So it didn't help that the financial system changed over all at the same time, and there were some issues associated with the changeover as well. That's created some some additional feedback. It was a bit like the perfect storm for everybody. So some of those health and safety incidents relate to that as it impacts on staff. Sorry.
Yeah. Questions, team? Further questions? Recommendation back on that previous page. I'll move it. Ken, your second, Councillor Payne, your second on that. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? I'll do the same for documents for consent and seal. I'll move it. Someone seconding? Councillor Ludeman, all those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? What's that? Yeah, no, we're stopping now for smoking.
Can we move resolution? Can we do the resolution move?
Yeah, move the reasons to move.
Hold on, Councillor Martin, we're just gonna, what do we do, Di? Because we've got
You don't know
something
what
we've got to do. Yeah, no, that's up. We're adjourned for smoking.
No, he's got a reason not to.